Hello, everyone. I was pretty bored, so decided I would do a little stream here. Oh, 30, 45 minutes or so. Nothing too long. Let's talk about Star Wars, talk about whatever y'all want, of course, as always. Let's share the stream here. Or next episode's coming out tomorrow. I think what I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna pick up some new canon books. I know that may sound out of character, which it is, but not everything in the new canon is bad, I don't think. I think that there are some books that are pretty good. I'm sure that there are. They can't all be bad, right? So I think I'm gonna pick up. Well, ironically, they're both Lucino novels, so I mean, they're really, yeah, they're new canon, but you know, they have the quality of an EU mind behind it. So it's Catalyst and Tarkin. I want to pick up. If you've read those books, let me know how they are. Um, because if they're good, might pick them up. The reason why I'm choosing these particular books is not only because they're Lucino, but because they are Rogue One tie-ins, and I'm really enjoying Andor and Tony Gilroy. I think Gilroy should do. Honestly, I would be having him do all the Star Wars stuff if it's up to me, but or at least be one of the bigger contributors to it. Um, hello, Iron Inquisitor, how's it going? But if you've read Catalyst and you like it, let me know. Because if it's a good book, which I've heard it is, um, I'd be interested in reading it. I know it's about Krennic and Galen Erso and all of those characters, and of course Tarkin is about Tarkin, right? So I would like to read that. Tarkin, I actually used to own Tarkin a long time ago. Um, But I got rid of all of my new canon books about a year ago, I think. I used to own a lot of the High Republic stuff, but I got rid of it. And to be honest with you, the reason why I did that was to to make some room for EU books. That's really the reason why I did it. Maybe I'll go back and rebuy all that stuff. Who knows? But who knows? But like I said, if you've read it, let me know. Because I'm not. I've always wanted the new canon to be good. I've said this before, but I want the new canon to rival the EU. I want to be able to look at both of the continuities and not be able to pick which one I prefer. Ideally, that's what I want. If we're gonna have to have two continuities, okay, I mean, let's make them both good, then let's make the new canon amazing. But I think a lot of it is with me. I mean, in a lot of the comics, the new canon comics have issues with too, like with Vader knowing, not Vader. It wasn't a Vader comic, but the whole idea of the Sith Eternal and the fleet on Exegol, mainly the fleet on Exegol, existing at the time of the original trilogy. I mean, that just causes so many problems for me personally. Like, the whole purpose of the Death Star, I felt, was, you know, planet destroying tech should be highly, highly rare, or extremely rare. That's a better word. Should be extremely rare because it's relatively new at that time of the galaxy. I mean, there's nothing that comes to mind in the EU. There are planet devastating weapons like but in before the Death Star, like planets that don't destroy or weapons that don't destroy planets, but they can devastate the surface of the planet. That exists. But like planet-destroying weapons where you wipe them from the face of the universe. I mean, I don't think that existed at the time prior to the Death Star. So the Death Star should be like the first time that kind of take is used, and therefore it should be extremely rare. Um, and it should be, it should be at a point where it can only be made at the scale of the Death Star, and not like a miniature laser that you can attach to a Star Destroyer. I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I don't. Is it uncreative to like have a fleet of Star Destroyers that can destroy planets? Yes, but I don't really think that at that time in the galaxy, it makes sense to me that they were able to make it smaller and make it more abundant, especially for Palpatine doing it, which is that was the case. But to say that those existed during the original trilogy, it doesn't make sense. Like, why didn't they just send like a fleet of Star Destroyers with planet-destroying weapons on them to Yavin if they wanted to destroy the rebels? Why did they have to wait? Send this big Death Star that has a flaw in it. Why? Like, what is the purpose of that? I mean, it was something that I just didn't like that. I don't like that at all. I mean, but then there's other times in the new canon when there are actually really good stories. Um, the comics that I mean that's an example of one of the things I don't like about the comics, but the Rogue One Andor side of things I really enjoy. I enjoy it because it's very creative and it's very new. There's a lot of new in it. It's a lot of different situations and scenarios that the characters are going through. I don't know. I know I talk about the E a lot, but I mean, I don't want to say I'm just an E fan. I'm a Star Wars fan, so yeah, I'm gonna have an opinion on some of the new stuff. But that's just how I feel. So, like I said, if you've read Catalyst and you've read Tarkin, let me know because if they're good, I've heard good things about them. I mean, I'm sure they're good. It's. I mean, it is Lucino after all for both of those novels. Um, but if you read them, let me know. And I know that there is a now. Admittedly, I am worried about something. There was, I believe, I don't know when it came out, but there was a comic about how Cassian met K2SO. That was released, I think, when Rogue One was released, or shortly afterwards, at least. And I heard people said it was a good story, so I know Andor's supposed to cover that as well. I think what they'll end up doing is because I know Andor's the second season's going to skip around the timeline, so they may like when the K2SO starts showing up. I think it would be they won't show us the origins of how they met, but they'll show us like shortly after they met. So that way they're not contradicting the comic. But there's that possibility. And I am concerned about that. But I don't think Gilroy wants to contradict anything. In fact, Gilroy has utilized a lot of continuity. Rogue One is filled with continuity. I mean, Saw Gerrera, come on. I mean, that's an animated character he put in that movie. So I mean, it's and he had a great actor play him too. Forrest Whitaker is a great actor. So it's I don't know. I don't think Gilroy's not like that. That's another thing. Like even like in the first season of Andor, there was a lot of continuity in it too. I mean, Gilroy's never been one to contradict anything. So if anything, Gilroy like with the ghost, on Scarif. Now, granted, that is an Easter egg, but I mean, it would make sense at that point. So and then kyber crystals, I mean, that played a big role in that movie, right? That's well, it's not from TCW, it's from the EU, but still, I mean, it was in TCW, so I don't know. Gilroy's been really good at that, so I don't think he would contradict it. And not that like this matters, but I mean, the story group should be doing their job and saying, "Hey, there's already a comic that covered that came out almost 10 years ago now." So on to other topics. What else is going on in Star Wars right now? Revenge of the Sith is out. I got a chance. I don't know if I've talked about this on a stream before, but I did go and see it. No, I did. I did talk about it, but I did go see it. I enjoyed it. But that movie is very dated. It's extremely dated. I don't think people realize how bad the dialogue is in some scenes. I mean, it is a very dated movie, and there's also some questionable narrative choices. Like, I don't know if the EU ever explained this, and we're gonna talk. Titus, Ken, and I. We'll talk more in depth about it when we eventually get to Revenge of the Sith and voting on. But it's like, why would Palpatine send the Separatist leaders to a volcanic planet, knowing that that could put Anakin at risk? Because obviously, he had all this plan on his head. He was going to send Anakin there to kill them all. Um, I don't know. I just thought that's weird. Like, because that could put Anakin in danger, which it did. He did get in danger. But I just thought that was weird. Now, maybe there was an explanation for it. Maybe Mustafar was a separatist base or something. I don't know, but maybe it was relatively unknown to, maybe it's like, well, that's a planet the Republic has not really kept an eye on, so that would be a good place for it. Something like that would make sense, but still, though. So it's a good movie. It's the best of the prequels, but it's not. If y'all want my honest opinion, I think since Star Wars Theory, like, gets off to that movie, and that's all he ever talks about is that movie on his channel. Um, People now have this really, I don't want to say skewed, because I mean this is fiction after all, but they now all they think the movie's perfect without problems. Even it has a lot of problems. It has some questionable narrative things. The pacing of that movie is god awful. The movie will go from being just extremely quick to then just being the slow slog, and then it goes back to being quick again. I mean, it just, I don't know. So again, I love that movie. I grew up with that damn movie. I have a lot of nostalgia around it, but it's not perfect. There's a reason why the originals are still considered to be better by most fans. That's true. I think that there's a lot of there are a lot of explanations, but on the surface, it doesn't really seem quite right. Again, we'll talk more about the problems that Titus and I and Ken have with that movie. Um, Again, they're not there are criticisms, but they're not meant. That doesn't mean we hate the movie. He has a great story. In fact, all three prequels have good stories in them. They're just the production around the films is what really hurts them. So, and then it makes the movies hard to watch. Like, I imagine if Spielberg directed those movies, they would be a hell of a lot better. I think they would be, because again, George Lucas is a genius storyteller. I mean, I don't think anyone disagrees with that. He's a genius storyteller. He managed to take, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey and literally adhere to it almost word for word, and still made a really interesting movie out of it. I mean, it was genius, is what it was. I mean, A New Hope is a genius film. There's a reason why I did so well. Um. Anyway, I really want to actually go back and watch the originals again. They're so good. I mean, I love those movies. So, but yeah, Revenge of the Sith was a lot of fun to watch in theaters. Even though some of the scenes were kind of cringe, but it is what it is. The movies are still great, and I do love. I know older fans hadn't. Not all of them, but I've heard that some older fans kind of had an issue with this. I say older, like the fans, fans of Star Wars when it was just the originals. But I love that Vader fell to the dark side over a girl. I think that's. I think it makes it makes Anakin's fall, not his fall, but it makes his redemption a little bit more believable. Not that it wasn't believable to begin with, but he fell to the dark side because all he wanted to do was save his the one he loves, and he failed to do that. In fact, he was kind of the reason why she died. So I just love that. It makes him a lot more of a tragic character, and that's what George was going for. He was going for a very tragic villain, story. He wasn't supposed to be this big, this even though he is, he's not supposed to be like Palpatine level of evil. Like Palpatine is not a tragic. He's evil. Vader has done evil. It doesn't mean he make himself evil. He's a very tragic. It's a very tragic character. So, and I think him falling to the dark side over the one he loves, I think that very much encapsulates why he's a tragic villain. So I thought that explanation was very good. Um, and it all, I think it's genius. Palpatine, of course, used that against him, which again is genius. So anyway, but it was fun to go see that in theaters for the first time. It was really fun because the Star Wars crawl in the opening just hits way different in a theater than it does at home. Just way different. So, but that was a lot of fun. That was really cool. I know Hayden and Samuel L. Jackson, they did like a little thing at a certain theater, which was cool. Saw that online, thought that was really nice. Um, not a lot going on, even in the wider fandom. There's not really a lot. I mean, there's Andor, yes, but outside of that, there's not a whole lot going on. Um, I might do a video on the Andor controversy that's going on right now. There was a grape scene in the third episode. No, it was not actually. It did not. There was nothing shown. Obviously, in fact, it didn't even happen. But it was going to. It was an attempted grape scene, but Bix. Or I don't want to say it was big. Well, too late now. But Bix was gonna get grape. I'm saying grape because I don't want to get banned. And she fought off her attempted rapist. It just sounds funny. Oh, she got raped. Like I don't know, it just sounds funny. Um, like saying the word grape. Anyway. Yeah, I know he was kind of the reason why there was a controversy over that. I think what theory is confusing is he thinks that the discomfort he felt from that scene made it bad, but he doesn't realize it's supposed to make you uncomfortable. I mean, the Empire. It's funny because I think in his live stream when he, was reacting to it, he said that, "Oh yeah, this will tarnish the legacy of the Empire," and it's like, what kind of legacy did they have? Or reputation, I think he said. It's like, well, what kind of reputation? The Empire is cool. They're cool in terms of their technology and the way they look, but they're not cool guys. They're not cool people. They're the bad guys. So, and I mean, it's almost like the Empire, even, first of all, this is not the first time this has happened. There have been EU stories of Imperials raping people. I mean, it's happened. Grape has been in the expanding universe. So this is not new to Star Wars. This is new to Star Wars television, but it's not new to Star Wars. And so to say that it's not Star Wars is kind of ridiculous because it's been in Star Wars already, and it's a huge part of Boba Fett's backstory in the expanded universe. So it's like, you know, Theory never made a video about that or made comments about that on Twitter. And I know Lord Cronal also. I mean, he's an Imperial. He also was does something like that. So yeah, it's grape is a terrible thing, and that's why the Empire has people who have done it or tried to do it at least because they're the Empire. This is the same group of people who have genocided people. They have enslaved entire species. They in the expanded universe, they're extremely sexist. They're extremely speciesist, and xenophobic. So it's not like this is out of character for the Empire or for members of the Empire. Um, and that's what Theory does not seem to understand. He thinks that since he doesn't like it, then that means it's not Star Wars. Okay, you're not supposed to like it. You're not supposed to like that scene. I you're not supposed to. I mean, that's the purpose of it. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. It's supposed to make the Empire look more evil because they are evil. Um, they're fascists, whether people like it or not. They are fascists. They were directly inspired off of fascist regimes that history has had to deal with. And ironically enough, within those fascist regimes, among the people that were abused under them, sexual abuse was one of the things that they were using. Um, so it's like Theory does not seem to understand that. Now look, I know Theory has made a meme out of it now, but he was serious when he was complaining about bricks and screws in Star Wars. This is the guy who does not think bricks and screws should be in Star Wars. I don't know why. I don't know where he got that from. I don't know who put that in his mind. It was certainly not George Lucas because guess what? The original trilogy had it too. Um, it's stupid. So Monday Night Raw, yes. I actually considered making that the title, but I didn't. Hello, Fizzy. How you going? But yes, that is my thoughts on that situation. I know Twitter's having a good old time with that. Glad I'm not on that horrendous site anymore. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. I think Andor, what really makes it, and see, this is the thing. Star Wars Theory does not have. Look, I don't hate Theory at all. I don't really watch his channel. I mean, I like some of I like the videos he does when it comes to drama. I love watching his drama videos. I think they're hilarious. Um, whenever he does get into drama, which is like every few months now, but um, I just I don't think Theory has the maturity to watch a mature Star Wars show. Um, I mean, he just doesn't. And I think maybe if you read more Expanded Universe, I think maybe you could handle something like Andor. But tell you what, I could list a whole bunch of mature Star Wars stories. I mean, he would just not like. He would just hate it. Um. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on that. So I don't think I think if they were ever going to do that in cinematic Star Wars, like mention that grape or SA, I think first of all that was the perfect show to do it in, and also the way that Gilbert did it was also very good because I'm sure that scene really meant a lot to folks who have suffered that kind of abuse. Um, and I 100% think that that is a good thing. That people who suffered that, probably very satisfied with that scene. At least I've seen that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If I am, let me know. Um, but I mean, I would imagine they're cool with it. If not, I'm okay. Actually, I don't want to comment on on that. Anyway, I'm moving on from that topic. That's all I need. So let's about something else. What else do you want to talk about? Um, there's really not a lot going on right now in the fandom. Um, release. I mean, there is something I could talk about, but I probably shouldn't. It's the third edition of Supernatural Encounters, but I'm not talking about that. I'd rather talk about canon Star Wars. And that's gonna piss some people off, by the way. Well, it's been about 30 minutes since I did started the stream, and I said I was going to do it for 30. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Thank y'all for joining and for listening to me rant. Not really rant, just talk. I like doing this. I like getting my thoughts out there and starting some conversation. But yeah. I mean, if y'all have any questions for me, go ahead and ask. There's two people watching. If y'all got any questions, let me know before I head off of here. Oh Lord. Favorite blaster DL44. Favorite lightsaber color? This guy is spamming me with questions. Favorite lightsaber color is white or yellow. My favorite ship is the Millennium Falcon. My favorite faction is the New Jedi Order. My favorite era is the New Republic era / Galactic Alliance era, that era. Favorite characters, Anakin. Well, EU is Anakin Solo. For the films, is Luke Skywalker. Favorite Jedi, Grandmaster Luke Skywalker from the EU. Favorite Sith, Naga Sadow. Favorite book is Vector Prime. My favorite comic is Tales of the Jedi. Um, the Lady Luck is also a favorite of mine. My favorite drink, sweet tea. If we're talking alcoholic, I don't drink alcohol, so I can't answer that. My favorite sports team, I don't have one. I don't watch sports. My favorite color, I don't have one. The snow's disappeared. Anyway, I think Busy is running out of questions, so going to end the stream. Good night, y'all.